Battlebit Remastered is a game that is still its ways away from releasing to early access. One of the steps that the developers have identified as needing to take to getting across that line is getting new content into the mix. And well, the most recent playtest and build of the game did exactly that. It left us with a whole lot of new toys to enjoy. But with such little time to play the game during these playtests, how does one get a grip on all of this new content? Well, that's where we come in. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into all of the new content that has recently hit Battlebit Remastered. So I don't want to beat around the bush here too much today everyone. The update has brought about 6 new weapons and a bunch of new armors and helmets that actually impact certain stats around your build, so yeah, a lot to go over. But I just want to make it abundantly clear that given the state of Battlebit's development and where we are in the testing phase, everything we discuss here is subject to change. And I really mean that. There is a lot of stuff here that in the eye of the developers still needs a lot of work and a lot of polishing before we get to the finish line. This is just acting as a moment in time update and review of the new content, so you can take this info with you in-game to the next playtest, which is scheduled for October 3rd. Anyways, let's get into things and we'll start off with the new weapons. Kicking things off, we have a new assault rifle that is unlocked at rank 19, the SG550. To use the M4A1 as a baseline for comparison, because I know many swear by that weapon currently, the SG550 reps a slightly lower damage per shot out of the gate, but that damage carries a more consistent payload over range comparatively. Additionally, the SG550 also brings about a much lighter vertical kick per shot at the cost of a heavier horizontal kick, which makes the platform easier to control in the muzzle climb department over longer bursts, but is also shakier by comparison, which limits its ranged effectiveness. Throw in an improved aiming down sights time and a worse muzzle velocity while repping an identical rate of fire to the M4, the SG550 aims to bring a little more CQC finesse to the M4 playstyle without completely eliminating the SG550's ability to rep in a ranged firefight. The quicker reload speed also gives the SG550 the edge when it comes to chaining between enemy targets reliably, something that is definitely worth taking into consideration if you're a more aggressive player. Also, if I may ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this style of video and want to see more of this from me when it comes to Battlebit weaponry coverage and reviews and guides, get subscribed and let me know in the comment section down below. We definitely plan on doing a lot of content here for Battlebit Remastered. Anyways, shameless self-promotions aside, we have the PP19 next, unlocked at rank 22, which is technically classified as an assault rifle. It's only available to the medic and the engineer classes for some reason, and that could be an oversight on the developers at this stage, and truth be told, I really consider this to be closer to an SMG. The PP19 reps an identical damage model to that of the MP7, which is one of the default SMGs available to you as you boot up the game initially. And to make matters a little bit more interesting, you lose out on 200 rounds per minute in the fire rate department with the PP19 comparatively. So where's the benefit here? Well, the PP19 reps a much higher muzzle velocity by comparison to the MP7 and a greatly improved recoil across the board as well, all the while keeping the respective reload time down as well. The PP19 is only beaten out by one other assault rifle, the Orge 3, in reload speeds. I mean, the FAMAS also beats it technically, but it's so close here that it's not even worth mentioning in my opinion. Additionally, the PP19 brings a slightly faster movement stat to the party as well, which makes it the fastest moving assault rifle in the category, which at the end of the day just really makes this an SMG that's trying its absolute level-headed best to be in the cool kid AR gang, not the other way around. It's a fun novelty weapon for the more aggressive player, and it brings a unique blend of stuff to the table. I'm just not sure if it's a top pick for me when you compare it to other options in the arsenal. Lastly, in the assault rifle category, we have the HK419 unlocked at rank 37. And I have to be real guys, I've been particularly enjoying this one since getting my mitts on it. Once again, I'm going to be using the M4A1 here as a baseline to the comparison because, well, the HK419 is essentially a slightly heavier hitting M4A1, we're only talking by 1 unit of extra damage here, at the cost of a small amount of rate of fire here, only 40 rounds per minute worth. Now, essentially, vertical recoil here comes down slightly, with a small increase to horizontal recoil to counter, making this a slightly higher skill ceiling weapon against the M4A1 when it comes to handling longer bursts at longer ranges. That extra horizontal recoil is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass here, but if you can keep your rounds on target, then there's a solid amount of fun to be had here with the HK419. Unfortunately, the weapon doesn't support any magazine attachments as of yet, which gives you way less in the way of specialization options when it comes to your magazine slot, but if you aren't into that, then no dramas. Move along. But okay then, moving on from the assault rifle category, which we've been sort of hard stuck in since the start of this video, we have a new PDW in the game in the form of the Groza, unlocking at a whopping rank 94. So no, this is a weapon that I've not had the chance yet to use in the actual gameplay environment. Now, upon looking at this weapon and the stats a bit more with a bit of a magnifying glass, if you will, it's a bit of a strange concoction of materials and, ingredients here. While technically classed as a PDW, it certainly sports a larger caliber magazine that in turn sees it represent the second highest damage to armor in the class, only missing out on the top spot by 1 damage point against the Honey Badger. But what it gains in return is a much more stable recoil profile with a 50 round magazine to boot. Now, on the other end of the spectrum and in the same category, you have the P90, which sports a higher unarmored body shot damage and a faster rate of fire by a significant margin, but the Groza contains a more level horizontal kick, which gives it a bit more stability for engaging targets at range under automatic fire. However, and this is a big one for me, the reload time here is a whopping 4.3 seconds, and while yes, it does sport that 50 round mag that we mentioned before, it doesn't really come with an overly aggressive damage model against body shot damage, and that being unarmored body damage, which if I understand the damage models in this game correctly, is what will net you those kills at the end of the day. Once you get through the armor, your damage, effective damage that is, tends to drop off a bit. So as it stands, part of me wonders why you would run the Groza under its current balance, and I might need some actual time with it on the field to find that answer first, but that's something I'll return to in due time. The SVD is next, and it brings a new addition to the marksman rifle category unlocked at rank 38. This weapon brings about the fastest fire rate to the category, noting of course that the Mark 14 EBR has full auto capabilities despite a slower fire rate. With that, the SVD also packs the weakest punch of the marksman rifle category, which means that this is definitely a weapon more fit for the aggressive players in you who want that flexibility to reach out and poke away at bad guys at distance when needed with the accuracy of a DMR. Trying to use this weapon at extreme distance where you may expect to use other marksman rifles is where you're going to really start to notice the extreme damage fall off, and it's just going to feel a little disappointing, to be completely honest at that point. Just making you guys aware. And lastly, for this round of weaponry additions, we have the Remington 700 sniper rifle, unlocked at rank 72. Now, being a sniper rifle, it runs pretty much down the middle of the pack stats-wise with one exception. It now rocks the fastest bolt action speed in the game. So, for someone who is willing to forego the amazing muzzle velocity of, say, the M200, and you can chain those kills quickly, then this is your winner. There's not much else to say there. Now guys, as I mentioned before at the start of this video, weaponry was not the only highlight point content-wise in this latest playtest. The very thing that's designed to protect you against this weaponry, aka armor and helmets, also got a bit of an overhaul here. Some of you in your past exploration of this game may have noticed the character menu where you can technically customize the physical appearance of your character. Well, in addition to that, a bunch of new armors have been added and helmets that, while also change your cosmetic appearance on the battlefield, some will also change the statistics associated with your character. So, for example, as it stands currently, most classes will have a light and a normal classification of armors, or of belts, for example. This will change your carrying capacity for, say, magazines, primary gadgets, secondary gadgets, and throwables. This will also go for your belt and your backpack, which also affect the carrying capacity of other loadout slots in your kit. But in saying that, the more kit you bring on board with heavier backpacks, heavier belts, and heavier body armors, the slower you tend to move as well. The same goes for your helmet slot. So you may choose to take a heavier helmet, but by the same token, your aiming down sight speed may be slowed as a result. This is obviously the start of what appears to be a massive system here that takes on board a ton of different loadout customizability options modifications that both affect the aesthetic appearance of your character, but also the stats in which they're running. And it really allows you to purpose build a class in this game to a certain playstyle that works for you. My only feedback so far with this system is that right now there are a lot of belts and body armors that overlap in purpose. In other words, they are statistically identical, but they all have different aesthetic appearances. I think to clean up this experience a bit on the user interface perspective, it would be worth submenuing all of the classifications of body armor by their statistics. So for example, say you've got two different types of heavy assault armor available to the assault class. They are statistically identical, but they have different aesthetic properties. If you were to create a submenu within this menu here that displayed the two different aesthetic properties under one submenu, it would remove some of the confusion that would come from having to sort of trudge through this menu item by item and trying to work out where the duplicates are. By simplifying it into another submenu, if you will, it would ensure that people understood that, right, this here is a category of this armor, and well, if I wanted to mess with the aesthetics of this category, then I can do that under one menu and not risk messing up my playstyle. Just a bit of feedback from me on what I noticed and what could have maybe improved the user experience a little bit here. But ladies and gentlemen, that is everything I had for today when it comes to Battlebit Remastered and the new content that has dropped as of the most recent playtest that has come and gone. Obviously, we've got another playtest coming up in October, and I believe at this stage, the goal there is to start working on the helicopter integration into the game, so you can bet we'll be covering that on the channel here as well. If that excites you, hit the subscribe button and let us know what you thought of this video down below. Would you like to see more Battlebit content in depth like this? I'd be interested in hearing your guys' thoughts. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. If not, the dislike works just as well. And as per always, guys, once again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.